as a part 2 to my last video, I'm going to be doing another phasmophobia tier list. This time, we're going to do the ghosts. Be determining different ghost types and which I think is the most dangerous. Let's do this. So first, let's start with the spirit. Yeah, I need to get into the phasmophobia wiki. There you go. The phasmophobia wiki will do. So we'll go to ghosts. So first ghost we have is spirit. Okay, I don't want this ad. Nope. Okay, not sponsored. But yeah, that's an ad for some reason. Anyway, enough with that. So the description for spirits in the journal is that it says it's the most common ghost you'll come across. But it is still very powerful and dangerous. So we'll go to the page spirit. And you will see that it does not have any tactics that will help. And if you use the smudge sticks on it, it'll not hunt for 180 seconds compared to 90 seconds for the other 11 ghosts. So, spirits are among a pretty weak ghosts, but they are still kind of strong, so we'll put them in the D tier. It shouldn't be too bad. Another ghost we have is a phantom. Let's go to the page. Let's go to the appropriate page. If I can find it. Where is it? There it is. So, this is the Phantom. So, the ghost book says, Phantom is a ghost that possesses the living, most commonly summoned by a Ouija board. It induces the fear of those around it. So you can see, that's info the journal gives. And also, their tactic is, if you look at it, so, sure, you'll think it's a normal ghost, like, it cannot outrun you, or, you know, it wouldn't be able to catch you if you try to run from it, and also be silent. But if you do look at it, you lose 25% sanity, which is very, very dangerous. So this will be both when it appears during manifestation, and also when it hunts. Also, ghosts can also be less... Also, the phantoms are also less visible during hunts. So that means they are not really able to be seen very much. Like, they could be seen for about 1 to 2 seconds compared to somewhere half a second to 1 second for all the other ghost types. And of course, if you do take a photo of it during manifestation phase, it'll disappear. Of course, it won't stop a hunt, but it's great if you're trying to stop it. So make sure you have a camera. So we're gonna put Phantom in A. It's truly a pretty good ghost from what it has to offer. Next ghost is Remnants. This is among a very dangerous ghost. Let's see if I can get to the right page. Alright, Remnants. A Revenant is a slow but violent ghost, and will attack indiscriminately. It has been ruled to travel at significantly high speeds when hunting. So, basically, if it ever tries to see you, that means it'll basically outrun you pretty quick. So, you gotta be careful. And this is, you gotta be even more careful breaking line of sight. Since it typically can hunt, though, if it tries, it's gonna try and end up trying to still come after you, since ghosts are like way more smart. So yeah, Revenants are like, I'm starting to think they're even more dangerous, so we'll just put them in S tier. It's probably the only ghost that will be in S tier. Now for another really strange ghost, the Shade. So Shade is typically a shy ghost. So that means there is evidence that a shade will stop all paranormal activity if there are multiple people nearby. So typically, if you try to have someone alone, then that's when shades become more active. Though, if you try to team up, like multiple people are in the ghost room, then a hunt is not gonna happen at all. So, this ghost is potentially the weakest ghost ever, so it goes into the lowest tier, F. Let's rename it Shade. There you go. This is a specific rank for the Shade. Another ghost is the Mayor. Let me get to the right page. I have to be in the right page. So, the book describes the Mayor as sources of all nightmares. So it mainly is more powerful in the dark. So you can see, that's what the journal says. And what it will do is that the Mayors get a slightly increased chance to attack in the dark. So they will get a +10 honey modifier should the lights be off. But if the lights are on, then Mayors get a -10 honey modifier. So they are going to be pretty dangerous, but they are quite easy to deal with. But other than that, they're still kind of dangerous. Not really, but yeah. They're dangerous enough to be an A tier. Now for another pretty dangerous ghost is the Wraith. So we'll get to that right page. So, Wraiths almost never touches the ground. That means, of course, if you've seen my last video, you'll know that if you try to get footprints, you'll find that Wraiths can't leave footprints if they step on salt. But also, Wraiths have a toxic reaction to salt. So, and when that happens, the ghost activity will significantly increase. And also, sometimes I've heard they can also stop hunting if they disturb a salt pile. Though, I'm not sure if that really is true or not. But yeah, you can typically get activity with this. So, and also, it's the only ghost that can be able to fly. And they can also see through doors and travel through walls. So yeah, they're typically extreme. So, be careful when you're dealing with a Wraith. Just do not hide behind lockers. And if it finds you, you're dead. So, S tier is where Wraith is, along with the Remnant. Okay, and we have the Banshee now. This is a very excellent ghost in itself. So typically, Banshees are natural hunters that will attack everything. And they've been known to stalk their prey one at a time until they make their kill. So, this means they can only attack a single person at a time until they kill that person, and then they randomly choose a different target. So that's gonna be a huge thing you have to deal with. So if the target is in the room, then it will hunt that person if it initiates a hunt. Though if the target is not in the room, then it will just behave like any other ghost will. So this is typically a pretty strange ghost you have to deal with. Also, the range for the crucifix is kind of increased to 5 meters instead of 3 meters. So the crucifix is kind of more powerful. But still, Banshees are supposedly pretty dangerous to deal with, so I mean, at least you can outrun them or something like that, since they don't listen to non-target people if their target is in the room and a hunt happens, so it's gonna be in B tier, of course. Now, this is a very strange ghost, the Yuri. Let's see where it is. There we go, the Yuri. So, this ghost is particularly pretty dangerous as well. So, of course, it typically return the physical world, usually for the purpose of revenge or hatred. And their main tactic or strength if you aren't a nerd, is that they actually can drain your sanity significantly faster. So your sanity drop rate is going to be double, so you could lose 4 times as much sanity if you're playing professional at the max. So make sure you have sanity pills. Yeah, honestly, sanity pills will save you, so definitely use them. But yeah, this will definitely go in A tier. I'm not joking. Now for the Djinn. The Djinn's honestly a pretty strange ghost to deal with. So they typically tend to mess around with electronics a lot. So you could start hearing phone rings a lot if you're playing the high school map. And also, if the breaker is off, they have a tendency to turn on the breaker. Whereas mares do the opposite and they turn off the breaker. So they are typically pretty smart at their job. And their strength is that if the breaker's on, they'll travel at faster speed if they're too far away from their victim. So it may seem like you're dealing with a revenant, but you'll find you're not. But if you have the breaker off, then the tactic for the Djinn will become unusable. So it's not the best ghost, but it's still kind of dangerous. So we're gonna put it in C. So it'll be pretty difficult. Now for everyone's favorite ghost. Not really everyone. And probably one of the worst ghosts you can encounter and have been known to attack for a reason. The Demon. Yeah, it's a very dangerous ghost. So, typically, both the Demons and Banshees don't typically play by the regular sanity rules, so they can hunt even if the average sanity is high enough. Which, I gotta admit, is really dangerous. And they do get a plus 15 hunting modifier, so they will hunt more often. Let me just get rid of that. I don't want the ads appearing. We don't typically need ads in this video. But yeah, demons, definitely the most dangerous ghosts. Though, of course, if you do ask a successful Ouija board question, it won't lower your sanity. So, yeah. Still, so despite the weakness, it's still extreme to deal with. So you can definitely get more hunts with the demon. And that's why I'm putting it in S tier. Now for another strange ghost is the Oni. Oni, or whatever you can call it. So, the notebook so the journal says that Onis are cousins to the demons. And they are more active around their prey. So, they are basically like the demon and poltergeist combined together. So, they are typically the most active ghosts ever. So, they are typically so you can typically be able to find them more easier. But they are still very dangerous, so I mean, not saying they're extremely dangerous, since they are easy to find, so you can typically get evidence pretty quick. And maybe complete your objectives very fast if you get lucky enough. So, without a doubt, we're gonna put the Oni in C. With the Djinn. Actually, put it in B tier. That was a bit of a mistake of mine. But yeah, that's typically it. So, now for the last ghost, which is probably a pretty iconic ghost, the Poltergeists. Which are also considered a noisy ghost. So which is what the journal does say. So the Poltergeist's strength is that they influence more objects at once than other ghosts can, aside from the Oni, of course. But this means that if there are less objects in the room, the Poltergeist will be ineffective, meaning it'll barely be effective, so you can easily exploit it pretty easily. So make sure you don't have very many items in. Also, another thing to keep note is that poltergeists can also only be tracked with 2 evidences. Meaning, you don't typically need spirit box, you just need fingerprints and ghost orbs, and then you'll know it's a poltergeist. Since they're the only ghosts that can be tracked with just 2 pieces of evidence. Let's see, poltergeists are not really that much strong enough. So, we'll put it in C. So now we got that done. Now we're gonna go over... Let's add a new role real quick. So, we're gonna add another row. So we'll typically be adding another row, which I will call it... And it needs to load real quick, it's kind of laggy. So add a row above. So we'll do the gold one. We'll say... We'll put it at... Aggressive. So this will be the tab that are... Which are the aggressive ghosts. So, here are the 4 real challenging ghosts you'll have to deal with. So let's go through them. So we'll go for the 5 most dangerous ones. So, first of all, the demon in number 1, because it arguably is the worst ghost you can encounter. So it's typically very dangerous. Number 2 is Remnant. Since it runs super fast if it sees anyone. So basically in the new version, like the new update for the game, with of course all the changes that were in the beta, if it basically sees you, you're basically screwed since you have no way to outrun it. And it can be hard to break line of sight now, which is kind of very difficult. Number 3 is the Wraith. It sees through doors, travels through walls, and is overall pretty dangerous. And number 4, the Mare. More powerful in the dark, less powerful in light. So it's typically pretty difficult to deal with if the breaker is off and you can't find it if you're on, because you're on Asylum. And yeah, for people who always try to play Asylum, you don't know how to play, you should really find a different way to play. And then number 5, the Yuri. Drain sanity faster, that's totally it. But hey, we got that. Now we'll go over... Now we're gonna go over... non-aggressive. So, these are the ones that aren't aggressive at all. Just get rid of that. So these are the ones that are aggressive. That I think would be the most dangerous. So here are the ones in order. Number 1, Phantom. It does have a few tricks, so you'll want to be more careful. Number 2, Banshee, because they are rather pretty dangerous. Number 3, Oni, because they are more active, so they can be easier to find. Number 4, Jinn. They have a tactic that only works if the breaker is on, and they can turn on the breaker if it's off as well. Number 5, Poltergeist, is more effective when there's more items in the room. So it's pretty effective if there's too many places in the room. They can honestly get more hunts. Like, imagine if it gets like a buff where if there's more items, it can get a plus 0.5 honey modifier. Yeah, that would be very dangerous. Number 6, the Spirit. It's very weak to the smudge sticks and has no tactics at all. So yeah, it's just pretty dangerous. And number 7, the most weakest ghost of all, the Shade. It's just dangerous. It's just nothing. It's literally doesn't... It just rarely hunts. It's just there. Literally, it just does absolutely nothing for you. Does nothing good. But yeah, that is the Phasmophobia tier list video for ghost types. So yeah, hopefully you understand. Of course, if in case you think the demon isn't the real big challenge, then you would think your real big challenge would be Revenant. But yeah, that is the Phasmophobia Ghost tier list. Hopefully you find this video useful. If you like it, if you do like the video, subscribe, ring the bell, and have a good day.